We have two very special guests today. They are my clients inside the Sprint Method, and I am so excited to welcome them to the podcast. We have Jami, Porzl, and Sophia Caputo. They are the co-founders of Sharing Hope Africa. And I've been hanging out in the green room, just absolutely talking to Jami about everything that she's been doing. And really the way that this organization got off the ground has scaled up, even though they both have full-time jobs. They both have careers, families, personal lives, and they've been able to grow this organization. They've also done something really smart, which is, I wrote down in my notes, collecting shuttered organizations. So we're going to talk about that. Smaller organizations in Africa, which had maybe great programs, but then shuttered, and being able to collect them, revive them. The work they're doing is so great. They came into Sprint and hit the ground running. So I'm really excited to welcome them both to the podcast. Let's start by just a short round of intros and tell us about Sharing Hope Africa. Jami, we'll start with you.
Okay, so I'm Jami. I am 29 years old. I've been working in the Africa space for about 15 years now. I have a full-time job, but this is really my passion project. Absolutely love it. And yeah, I brought Sophia on and we became partners, and here we are today.
Sophia, jump in. Tell us about Sharing Hope Africa.
Yeah. Hi, all. My name is Sophia. Like Jami, I'm in my 20s. A little bit different, though. I didn't start going to Africa quite as early as Jami did. But during university, I went and interned with a startup accelerator in Cape Town, South Africa, and was blown away by the creativity, the resourcefulness, and kind of the juxtaposition to the way that they bring about innovation and solve community problems there versus in some first world countries. And when I came back to the US, I knew that I wanted to volunteer my skills coming from a business background to help further the mission or amplify the good work that people were doing locally in Southern Africa. I like to say I don't need to have the good idea. I actually don't like it. I think one of the things Jami and I love the most about Sharing Hope is that we're not managing day-to-day operations. We're not managing the preschool that we support or the farm that we support because we haven't lived there. We don't live there. But we have incredible partners who believe in the work they're doing. And that's where we get to come in and support, again, with product management background, social media experience. Now that we're in Sprint program, we're actually learning how to fundraise successfully. So thank you for that. But yeah, it's been great so far.
Amazing. So I feel like when we first met, you were at a pretty pivotal moment. You were about to do your first big gala. Is that right? It was your first one. And I think you can kind of set the stage for us of like, where were you with fundraising? What were you struggling with? And you had this gala idea in flux. So like, walk us through that.
So we brought a new board member on, and he had this idea of throwing a gala. He has a higher network, and he really wanted to do it. So we were toying with that idea, but then we also were introduced to you and your method, and we were kind of in flux. I remember when we first talked to you, you were like, the point of my program is not to rely on a gala. And
right.
The idea was originally to use the Sprint method as like a jumping off point for the gala, or using the gala as a jumping off point for the Sprint method to expand our donor base so that we can really cultivate them within the Sprint method. But however, we've actually found the Sprint method way more effective and less work than doing the gala. So we actually canceled the gala and we did like a cocktail fundraiser, which was much more of a lower lift. And we used the Sprint method to get people interested in the event. And then we fundraised at the event.
So you went from, I'm going to have this multi-5-figure gala, which was like a huge upfront investment that was going to hopefully look great, hopefully make way more than it cost. But it was a big cost up front. You had that sort of in motion when we were talking. And I remember when you came to a call pretty early in Sprint and you're like, yeah, we're not doing that. And I was like, oh, we have made a turn. We have made a change. And then you changed into this cocktail hour, which was lower lift in so many different ways. Everybody can picture the big gala versus like a cocktail hour with family and friends, networking, that kind of thing. And you were both so much more calm and excited about it. And then the idea was like, okay, how do we package that into a sprint? Sophie, I'll kind of throw it over to you. Tell us about what happened next.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's been super helpful in working with you is regrounding in what's a realistic goal. Like, what is your realistic goal? What is your easy win? I think Jami and I have started asking each other that question when we're doing like our own working sessions. And so I think what shifted for us was we realized we had the people to have this cocktail hour. We had an event. We've been doing an event annually, so we had that kind of like people expect this from us.
Yep.
But you level set with us and you're like, no, if you're doing a fundraiser, it needs to be a fundraiser. You can't just sell tickets. You have to have your fundraising strategy. And I think you'll see like throughout this conversation, you'll hear Jami and I were maybe throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what stuck and going around annually to friends and family and asking like, oh, can you give us some money? This is the issue. This is the issue. But there wasn't a clear strategy for growth. And so I think another benefit of the cocktail hour, we had Give Butter up there, which we started using again because of Sprint program. We had that thermometer up there, but we had messaging ready for people at the event, ready to send to their friends and family. We had the emails already teed up. We knew what we wanted that to look like. We knew how many people we needed to engage. Like we went through the checklist and the templates for Sprint Method, took what we did from our first sprint that we ran in September to raise $8,000. We raised $9,000 in a weekend, which we had never, ever done before. And we were able to take that same template, the same things that you teach us to do, apply it to selling tickets, apply it to fundraising night of at the gala. And now we're looking at how we can apply it for monthly donor drive. So like we're seeing how you can use it again for ticket sales, for night of, for 10-day sprints, 5-day sprints. It has been so helpful and changed how we go about this. And I think also helped our burnout too.
Like, it's exhausting when you're like throwing spaghetti at the wall, when you're following the well-meaning board member who has a suggestion but is not implementing it, when you're asking your friends and family and it's not coming from a place of generosity. It's more like, can you please donate again? It's like weird. And it's just versus like, y'all had such good momentum and energy around both of your campaigns. I was so excited. Like, I think one of the things that people can get a little confused, because I'll talk about laptop fundraising, I'll talk about, fundraising without a gala, is I'm not like anti in-person event. I'm anti overhead and burnout. I'm anti that. I'm anti what your people don't even want to go to the thing. Your event looked so fun. You had the little video you shared and you were like celebrating. It was such a good event. And to get your community together, to come together to actually see the work you're doing in Africa is so, so valuable. But when you orient them to a goal, it is the difference between you and I going for our Sunday drive and we're just cruising, right? Tops down, we're cruising, we're having fun. We end up nowhere, but we cruised, and plugging it into our GPS and boom, we're exactly where we wanted to be. That's kind of the difference. Yeah,
absolutely. I think Jami and I were just in like a working session, war room type whiteboard populated yesterday. And again, we started working with you July, August-ish of last year. And we were able to raise nearly $20,000 using Sprint Method in not even the full second half of the year. And so planning our fundraising for the year, and again, having that GPS point, it's like, okay, we know we raised about $10,000 at that event last year. How can we increase that? Like, what if we want to get it to 20? We know we need $30,000 by the end of the year. Where are we spacing this out? And again, like having the Sprint Method and having that has given us the opportunity to actually look at the strategy.
Less burnout. And Jami, anything else to add there?
Yeah, the Sprint Method templates have just been literally life-changing for us because, as you mentioned, we both have 2 full-time jobs. So it's not like we have days and hours on end. We are very limited in the time that we can spend, and using our CEO time and using the templates, we're able to just get so much more done in the time that we do have than previously.
Yeah. Can we talk about the impact of this increase in funding for your organization? Because what you've brought in has I've heard. And I just think it would be really cool to share like what you've brought in. So how has that increase in funding impacted your program? Tell us what has happened from that.
So in September, we were at the preschool in Mozambique. This school's been around for over a decade now, and it has not seen really any kind of upkeep in at least 6 years. Like we're talking pre-pandemic. And so paint was cracking. One of the roofs was leaking, so it wasn't being able to be used. That's 30 to 60 kids that we couldn't take into the preschool because that classroom wasn't functional. The desks have completely fallen apart. They were wooden. They lasted for a decade. They do not last anymore. The playground was torn down. The fences weren't there at the preschool. The schools never had electricity. There were all of these capital improvements. We did the math. It was going to cost about $8,500. Seemed like a lot. And then we put together Sprint. We sent it out. Again, we raised that money in a weekend. We raised the full amount. And so for the first time, probably since Sharing Hope Preschool was constructed, I think like the full building was maybe done in like 2012, 2013. It is repainted. There's electricity. There's lights. The kids, they're starting school this week. They're going to have desks. They're not going to be sitting on the floor this school year.
Yes.
And kind
like,
of...
I could cry. Like, I think in the States, as a parent myself, like, it is, we're talking about weather, it is disruptive when your kid can't go to school. Mm-hmm. When they can't go because the school can't take them for whatever reason, whether it's weather. I had my kids preschool way back when where we literally picked him up from preschool and on a Friday. And by Monday, his school was shut down, never to be open again because of mold. Like, it is, right? It is disruptive, which is like, we look at this or we'll be like, but another school was able to take us. So we had about 4 days of interruption, right? Yeah. 4 days versus these stop starts or an environment where a child's on the floor is completely different learning environment. Like what you've created for these children is remarkable and just the beginning.
Yeah. And something I want to call out. Oh, Jami, go, because you're a mom now. You have a new perspective.
Yes. That's what I was going to say. That this was my first time. I've been going for 14 years, but this was my first time. And I actually brought my 1-year-old daughter. This was my first time there with her and my husband.
Yeah.
And being there as a mom. And Sophia can attest, I broke down like so many times. But I think it also helped our donor base. Seeing me there with my daughter, kind of putting it in perspective for them. Like, these aren't just kids halfway across the world. They're the same age as Ellie. They're experiencing the same things as Ellie. The moms and parents of these kids are experiencing the same thing I'm experiencing. So I think that's really transformative for our donor base. Because like you're saying, it's already an uphill battle to get a job in that region. And then you have to worry about how your child's being taken care of, who's taking care of them, is school going to be open, is school not going to be open, what's the situation. That mental load on top of trying to find a job and showing up for that job and doing a good job, it's just something that we don't want for these parents, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that need to make money to support their families.
Yeah. Thinking of the mental load of you two as founders going, can we open next month? Can we open next week? If we don't have enough funding for it, like that is a huge mental load for you. So it's both sides. Yeah, Sophia.
And what I'll say to that is, like you asked again, what's changed? What's the impact been? So the first part was getting the school like back to a good condition. The second piece is at the end of the year, through that event that we did through our year-end fundraising, we had enough to confidently no, we're going to be able to keep this school open for the full year. And based on the money we have in the account, our strategy for fundraising this year, we've decided to open the school back up to full capacity and rehire 2 staff members we had to furlough last year.
I'm like, are we crying on this? Like,
yes.
This is so huge, 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 huge. Like
3 staff members.
I think running an international organization is such a huge feat, right? Because you can't physically be there all the time. And that the two of you have been able to do this, going a few times a year with full-time jobs and have this level of impact is phenomenal and just the beginning. Just the beginning.
I agree. I feel like we're on the precipice of something good.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. let's talk about so you've had a couple of sprints under your belt. I've seen both of your confidence and fundraising change, your confidence in asking change. Can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
Who is the more naturally confident fundraiser or more avoidant of the two? If you're like who's not it and who's like, I'll take it. Okay, Sophia's right. Yeah. Okay, so talk to me.
Yeah, I grew up doing like in community theater, like I would say, like our
Perfect
dinner theater and like local theater at
yes.
home growing up were my second homes. That being said, asking for money still feels just gross. The nice thing, again, like there's the scripts that you have in Sprint Method. And I think the best way like I can kind of illustrate it is we were working with one of our volunteer interns at the end of the year to start activating them as a fundraiser. And he's been with our org for about 6 months now. Join was like a little bit quieter, maybe has like a marketing background. And we just got on the phone and I was like, let's break this down. And I think while my confidence has grown in asking people for fundraising on like the little things, what I'm also noticing is I'm having more confidence in asking others to join and to fundraise with us.
Yes.
And that is such a huge piece. I think like what Jami and I are realizing, we need to do those asks and then we need to go for big dollar asks, like those big donor, big gifts. So with the activation, like that volunteer, Logan went out and he raised $500 in like half the time that he expected. So that confidence I think is like bleeding through from Jami and I into the rest of the team. And then in terms of the larger asks, we're starting a new program for the preschool. It's about $3,000 a month to operate. Our goal is to get $1,500 from individuals' monthly recurring donations.
Love it.
But the other piece that we're really focusing on is a like $1,500 one-time donation from 12 different groups, be it businesses, influencers, micro-influencers. And so now we're starting to work on our scripts for how do we make those bigger asks? How do we have that conversation? And confidence-wise, we've talked about doing this before. And I think the biggest testament is like, we've talked about it since Jami and I met for 5 years. We've talked about doing some kind of partnership program, sponsorship thing. And we have a plan. We're doing it. We're starting to do outreach, I think in 2 weeks. And we're just going to plan to reach out to people like 2 or 3 times a week. Get used to hearing the word no, because eventually a yes will come through. But I think about it, like we would not have had the confidence to do this a year ago. We wouldn't have had the resilience, tenacity, endurance to risk getting told no for like those larger dollar amounts. And it's so clear, like that's where we're going to see that growth. Like that's where we're going to see that impact and change.
100%. I think the confidence to hear no, to fall and get back up is your growth plan. And it doesn't sound like, well, I don't want to fall a bunch, but it's like the no's pave the way to the yeses. And it's cliche and it's true. And that's why I love coaching so much, because we as a community are lifting each other up. We as a community are celebrating inside a sprint. I'm holding you all accountable. So when y'all are veering over here, I'm like, come back to me, come back. Right. So I think that that's another layer of like why this is working for you and why you hit. I was looking at my notes, like one of the events I remember in the first 10 minutes, you're like, Christina, we hit our goal in the first 10 minutes. Like it is such a change in where you were before this.
Oh my God. Yeah. And like you said, the community piece, like Jami and I feel like we've gone to a couple of like nonprofit events or meetups, but there's nothing that we've been a part of that's so consistent. So having those monthly or bi-monthly calls with the rest of the sprint group, like we're getting ideas from other people, and it's great, of course, to get your coaching, but just have other people who are like going through it too. And we're like, oh yeah, like that's how you're building your campaign out. Oh, we could do something like this. Like it's so valuable. And creating in a silo, it gets lonely. Burnout happens faster, less creativity, all those things.
Yeah. I feel like somebody in the chat said like, oh, I'm stealing that idea to somebody. And it was like, yes, steal the idea. Like there's no apologies. And like with recurring giving and things like that, sprints are perfect for a recurring giving campaign. So I love that, like, that's something you're going to be working on. I want to talk about future focus. Like so walk us through, like you've been doing some planning. We have a planning session coming up. Walk us through this year. Like what does the organization look like? What are you working towards? What are fundraisers? Talk to us.
So I can speak a little bit towards the operation part, and then Sophia, maybe you take the fundraising plan part, you've definitely been taking the lead on that. So in terms of operation, like Sophia said, we opened the school up fully. We tripled our intake of students, and now we're up to 100 students. And then on the back end, we're doing more in-depth reporting and pictures, and we located a local photographer that'll be sending us pictures every month to then work into those campaigns. Pictures speak 1,000 words.
Definitely.
So that's what it looks like from that perspective. And then we're going to start working on the transition to self-sufficiency. So Sophia can speak a little bit more to it, but our next big sprint is going to be fundraising for a chicken coop that will then eventually fully sustain once we scale it to school and create new jobs. And then we wouldn't have to worry about funding the school just on a month-to-month basis, just for capital improvements and things like that. So that's the long-term vision. Sophia's going to tell you how we're going to get there.
Yeah.
I got to jump in and say I love this self-sufficiency plan. That's the key. That's the key, especially with an international organization like that. I think it's has dignity. It helps the community scale up. So I'm really, really excited about that vision. Okay, Sophia, over to you.
Yeah, Christina, we are too. I think it was one of the first conversations Jami and I had. I think it was probably maybe in the same sentence that she introduced herself in. It was like, hi, I've stepped in, I'm helping these programs. And like at one point, I don't want to. Like at one point, I want us to be irrelevant. Like I want us to fade into the background, for nobody to need us anymore, and for us to just like get to go and visit our friends. So we've started that plan. Like phase 1 was fixing the preschool and getting it open to full capacity this year. So we're there. Phase 2, like Jami was talking about, the big piece of it is this chicken coop. So in Mozambique, it's like your perfect, I won't bore you with the details, but perfect like business case need scenario. There's a shortage of chickens. There's a nonprofit that already does work with providing people chickens. We want to team up with them and build a chicken coop near the preschool. Within the first 6 months of operating, on a pretty conservative estimate, if we have 300 chickens, we're selling eggs. The profits from that, like Jami said, they'll create 2 jobs for women in the area. It'll be food that we can feed the preschoolers. But the sales from that chicken coop are going to cover the entire year cost for food. So yeah, we're setting up our like monthly sponsor program, which is great. Like, yes. But the goal is to start shifting that ownership back into the community. And this is our like test run. We'll see how it goes.
Yes. I call this upstream thinking. I think nonprofits sometimes are putting Band-Aids on wounds, right? Versus going, why are we getting wounds in the first place, right? Upstream. Yeah. And so at first, yes, we need to fundraise for this here, but what does it actually look like to like solve the bigger problem with that upstream thinking? And I'm really excited about this. This is good.
I'm geeking out. So we're planning to do that early spring or mid-spring, so like April-ish timeframe.
Yeah.
And hopefully the chicken coop will actually be finished being built in May. And even though that'll start generating profits, we're not slowing down on fundraising by any means. We're planning to run another recurring donor sprint sometime over the summer in the interim. Yeah. And then we still are figuring out what are like the little pieces in between, because we know our big fundraiser at the end of the year, that'll be the Cocktails for a Cause event in October. I think our fundraising target is $25,000. We'd like to have half of that from a matching donation, which again, there's a pit in my stomach and I feel my hands getting clammy. But like, those are the goals like we're pushing ourselves to now. And again, like between the chicken coop, that'll take care of that piece. The end of the year fundraising or like that bigger fundraiser, that's where we're expecting to get the capital that we need to know we'll be able to keep the preschool open, just in case anything happens with the chicken coop. And hopefully when we're planning on maybe going to Mozambique in April as well, while we're fundraising. And so we're hoping to see like, okay, what other areas could be like a now focus. We know there's a plot of land close to the preschool. It's a garden. It's in dire need of irrigation. I think it's going to cost another $8,000 to get that set up. And so depending on how the year's going, that might be something we look at throwing in August. But again, we have that like 2 quarters, maybe full year planning session with you next week. And so we're excited to really like pressure test that and see like, does this make sense? But yeah, we are in the best place that we've ever been as an organization. that is what's allowing us finally to start that upstream thinking.
Yeah, because when you're constantly having to fill smaller gaps in funding, all you can do is Band-Aids. All you can do is stitch something up and we go versus like the bigger holistic problem. So yes, I'm so excited by that. That's amazing. I want to talk about your donor pipeline a bit more. So very, very commonly, newer scaling up organizations, emerging orgs will have initially that donor pipeline is going to be friends. It's going to be family. It's people you know. And that's good. That's how we start, right? So if when I first started my very first business, that's exactly what it was. It was just, you start working your network and then beyond. How has your donor pipeline changed and how are you changing it this year to put more leads into your pipeline, whether it's at an individual smaller gift, a mid or major?
So, like you said, it's been mainly family and friends. And one thing that we're looking to do, especially with this activation, for the food sponsorships, is we're looking for those partners to not only, some of them will just do a one-time gift, but we're looking for them to do different activations. So partnering with a bar, where they'll promote us, partnering with a bakery, where we'll do some co-branding, things like that to continue to reach outwards. And then Sophia mentioned we're leveraging our interns that do a lot of our legwork. We've been using them and teaching them how to fundraise so that they can do that and expand the network. And then
That's it.
we're now activating our board. Previously, the board was just kind of advisory and taking a look at it, and now we're leveraging them as well.
I'm so glad you mentioned the board because I think, again, very common that the board is exactly how you described in the beginning. But that's also because unless we can give the board a playbook and go, this is what we're doing, this is when we're doing it, this is how we're doing it, and it's not going to kill you, it's going to be okay, we're going to do it together, then it's really hard to have the board be a fundraising board. But when you have that playbook and they know it's a sprint, not a marathon, I can handle a sprint. My son and I were playing a game last night and it was like, what would you rather do in a triathlon? I was like, and it was like, which one would you rather, what do you not want to do? And I was like, I don't want to run that long. Right? So it's like, I don't want to do the marathon. I want to do the sprint. And for the board members who are not natural fundraisers, it's the same thing. We can handle a sprint.
I mean, I also remember, I think during our like intro call, we were doing the absolute bare minimum of like board engagement, like bare bones. And I remember you encouraging us so much, like, no, like set up, get those calendar holds now, start a group chat, talk to them immediately. And like we had a board meeting last night and I didn't feel like we had topics for an hour, but as soon as I started showing them what we were working on, it turned into a brainstorming session and they were more enthusiastic about giving advice.
100%.
And they were more enthusiastic about our fundraisers coming up. And they were like, oh my gosh, I don't know anybody, or it's like, if you tell me what to say, I can do this. And that transformation, I think also is something like we have, instead of doing quarterly board meetings, we have another one set up for next month. Like, I think we're going to start doing them on a monthly basis. And that's another huge shift that I think we're going to not fully realize like how much it's impacted us until we get to the end of the year.
And then a collateral benefit of that, I'll say, is like when your board members are actually fired up and also feel in the know and feel excited, they're just going to be out in the world and they're going to meet Mary. And Mary is going to be like, oh, you need to know so-and-so. Let me connect you. And then she's our closer. So she's going to do the hard ask. We don't make anyone else have to do, you know what I mean? And so that's when your board actually starts to help bring in people to your pipeline too. You're not making your board member, ask for a $10,000 gift. You're like, I'll take them to lunch. I'll have the call. I'll tell them about this program. But they start thinking with that end in mind versus I'm sort of sitting on this board and I'm just kind of hanging. Yeah.
The nice thing too, and I'll call out because I think I maybe got in my head about this, is I don't think Jami and I felt like we had a lot to update them on. And again, with the things moving so slow with the Band-Aid kind of approach that we had to take, it just felt like we were going to them with our tail between our legs every single time. And I think like what we've realized after every call, they're like, you're doing so much work. Like, thank you. This is incredible. And that encouragement and building up that relationship has given us a lot more confidence. And like you're saying, they're going out into the world, they're just talking about it. That's something I think we also want us to be more intentional about with our entire donor base. So like looking at how we're communicating with them, how we're emailing them, and seeing again, like they were so excited to help us last night. Like they were like, oh my gosh, this and this, and like we need to know this. Send us this information. We want to talk about this next time. And I'm like, that was just from us having a group chat and meeting once a month, like not even once a month. Like we can do that with our donors and probably find at least some that are that excited.
100%. Yeah. That regular communication gets people more excited and engaged, whether it's from the donor side or the board side. You'll start seeing a lot of collateral benefits, even just like more board members. You'll see a board member go, oh, we got to have so-and-so on the board. I was just talking to them. They know X, Y, and Z. You're like, oh, okay. New great board member is happening from this. It's like new energy in the organization with this.
Yeah.
So anything else that you'd like to share from today's conversation?
I genuinely don't know how much longer it would have taken us to get to the point where we could start that upstream thinking and that future thinking and like have a plan to get these programs transferred back to the community and like thriving. And it's become our light at the end of the tunnel and it's given us so much more confidence. So yes, like the fundraising absolutely has been crucial. It's not just the money in our bank accounts that's changing though. It's like we literally can approach our strategy for the year like in a completely new way and have an end goal in mind.
And that feels so good. It feels so good. Yeah. Jami, anything to add?
Yeah. My husband looked at me yesterday after I came home from like our long planning session, Sophia, and he's like, you just look lighter in this past year than you've looked in the decade that I've known you. You feel happier about it. You're happier when you're home. You're not stressed out all the time. You're proud of what you're doing. So yeah, it's the money in the bank account. Yeah, it's the confidence. But it's also, it takes some of that burden off to make us feel so much lighter, which I think allows us to engage with our donors just so much more genuinely, to inspire them to donate rather than to ask. So I think that's
100%
probably the biggest shift within me.
I love it.
Christina, I wanted to add one more thing too. Like Jami and I, again, we're small. We have had are we going to be able to keep the preschool open next month? Are we going to be able to send salaries? We are so paralyzed at the thought of spending money on anything other than sending donations directly to Mozambique and any of the overhead investments. We're talking like the donor platforms, the website hosting, like that has all been personal donations from us that like we cover and we pay for. And I remember talking to you and like looking at all your programs and it felt really scary. And we made some investments across the board like last year. And I will say like, there are things that like maybe we wouldn't spend our money on again every single time. If anyone is looking for a program and like a way to change their fundraising, I would say 1,000%, 10 times over. Sprint method's definitely worth it. And like, depending on what level of your business, like I trust you so much, the materials you've created. And I don't know if there is anyone who's listening, who's like wondering, is it worth that investment? Like, can I really swing it? Again, you'll get it back, yes, in terms of donations, but everything that Jami just said too, with like, it alleviates so much. So thank you. Thank you.
It's
like
it's been an honor to work with both of you. So I received that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We ask every guest to share a thought they like to think on purpose, affirmation, a quote, something that's just resonant and helping to guide you forward. You guys can share one as a group or individually, but I would love to hear your thoughts.
So the thought that I choose to think on purpose is that I can change the world. I just feel like so often, especially right now in the political climate and everything that's going on, people just feel like they're lost. They don't have a voice or anything like that. And I choose to think that I can change the world and I can make a difference. And I see it every day when we get those pictures of those kids at that preschool.
It makes me want to cry again, Jami. I'm like, you guys are 100%.
I love that. One thought that I've been thinking on purpose a lot is almost a question. It's, am I acting from a place of fear or love? And for me, it's a great moment because I'm building more awareness around coming back to that place of love. And it's like, okay, am I fundraising because I'm afraid the school's not going to open? Or am I fundraising because I love these kids and I love the work they're doing? And the confidence that it's given me has been incredible. And it's reminded me of like the purpose. Like I want to go and like way back in the day, I used to go to church. The way they'd end every sermon was like, go and love on someone. And that idea of like, again, like Jamie said, changing the world, like it can be the little things every single day, and acting from that place of love is something I'm choosing to think on, meditate on a lot more on purpose.
Beautiful. Oh, those were two beautiful ones. Thank you. Thank you. Where can everyone connect with you? Where's the best place? Where's the social? Where do you like to hang out socially? And then make sure we'll link to your website and all that good stuff.
Yeah, socially, Instagram is our main place to be. Our handle is just at Sharing Hope Africa. Same on Facebook. In case you didn't pick up on it, we have a small team. So it's me or Jamie or one of our like volunteer interns. So if you ever want to get in contact, you can always send us a DM, and it'll probably be one of us that responds.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank y'all so much for today. This has been such a beautiful conversation. I really just appreciate you both sharing your story with us. And it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning.